everyone, and welcome to Real Wood Matters, a Real Wood podcast where we discuss the ins and outs of the forest products industry, from forest management to furniture trends. On this episode, we have the Missouri Forest Products Association Executive Director, Brian Brookshire, ready to share his expertise on the forest products industry and the state of the forest. Let's dive right in. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing good, Sydney. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in. Well, you've been in forestry for quite a while. You've spent a lot of time in the forest. You majored in forestry in college. Can you tell me about why you chose forestry as a career?
I think as a kid, when I was growing up, I was an outdoors kid. Hunting and fishing was my thing with my dad, so it just kind of one thing led to another. And I thought originally I might go into fish and wildlife, and I decided against that based on some good recommendations from folks at the University of Missouri, and I got into forestry when I started at MU.
Amazing. And how long have you been with the Missouri Forest Products Association?
I've been with MFPA for a little over 20 years.
Oh, wow. So you started when I was 5 years old.
Oh, that's great, Sydney. Thank you.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm so glad that I could help give you that context, right? Now, let's move beyond your personal statistics and your story a little bit. I want to hear more about the industry itself. I understand that Missouri has 42,000 industry workers in the forest products industry, and it's a $10 billion industry. Can you tell me more about that?
That's right. The forest products industry in Missouri is very large, particularly across the southern state. A lot of people don't realize the breadth of the industry, and we have 400 plus sawmills in the state of Missouri, a lot of secondary manufacturers, hundreds of loggers, and when you sort of wrap all that up, we end up with over 40,000 folks working in the state. So it's a lot of people, and we manufacture so many different products in the state of Missouri. A lot of people don't realize that we're very well known, for example, to manufacture whiskey staves in the state of Missouri, railroad ties, a lot of industrial products like pallets and steel blocking and that type of thing. So we have a tremendous amount of what we call primary processing, where we break down the round log, create products out of that. But those materials might go 20 miles down the road and get processed into hardwood flooring.
Oh, wow. I've heard it said that the most important ingredient in whiskey is the barrel.
That's right. Exactly.
So
it's all about the barrel. Yeah.
All about the barrel. That's I don't drink whiskey, but I've heard it. I've heard it said that.
Well, maybe you should try it. Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah.
So when I'm driving down I-55, I see a lot of forest passing either way. How many acres of forest does Missouri have?
Little over 15 million acres.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And how much of that is private versus publicly owned?
It's a little bit of a moving target, but it's basically about 85% privately owned, 15% public. That's a mix of state-owned land, federal lands, and so forth, but 85, 15, and about 15 million acres.
Amazing. Even though lumber qualifies as a crop, it's not like a farm where everything grows in straight, tidy lines. How does that division of public versus private forests work? Do lumber professionals harvest timber in both kinds of areas? Tell me more about that.
Sure. So we have many private land timber harvests, a lot of public land timber harvests. The thing that a lot of people don't realize is that harvesting trees is really a critical component to the whole management process of the forest. In order to properly maintain and nurture that forest over time, we have to create space in the forest for the new young trees to grow and occupy the sunlight that's created when we harvest a tree. So it's very important to keep on, quote, managing that forest, which is all about harvest. So we got to do that on both public land and private land to make it healthy and sustainable for the future.
Absolutely. And what goes into the forest management process? Can you walk me through that a little bit?
Yeah, it kind of runs the gamut. We have the forest products industry a lot of times makes the management decisions in the forest. There's also professional foresters that work a lot for both private landowners and public agencies. So what happens is we go out into the forest prior to a harvest and sort of assess it and identify what that forest needs in order to make it healthy and sustainable. And based on that information that we collect, we put together sort of a management prescription that we can go in there and identify the trees that need to be harvested or the other types of work that needs to be done in that forest. And then we use the industry to implement that management. Basically, management in the state of Missouri is it's a requirement of the forest products industry to participate in that process. Otherwise, it's not gonna be done. It's not gonna be effective over time.
With all of the technology that's come out in the last however many years, how would you say that forest management and the industry as a whole has changed?
Well, it's changed considerably over time. Like Missouri is very well known, like in the 1880s up to about 1920. In Grandin, Missouri, the largest sawmill in the world was in Grandin, Missouri. And that's a time when the forest was originally kind of being harvested in the state, and a lot of that material was used to hack railroad ties to lay track from Missouri on westward. So that was a huge sawmill at that particular point in time. And of course, back then, a lot of things were done by hand. Mm-hmm. Now we're much more efficient in harvesting and processing, state-of-the-art equipment, both in the sawmills and in the logging manufacturing or in the logging industry. We use chainsaws still, but we also have mechanized equipment that's used to harvest these trees. And the efficiency of processing has changed just considerably over time.
Absolutely. I bet the difference between having absolutely no phones and a phone that does everything for you, except out in the forest.
That's right. That's right.
So I heard that MFPA recently underwrote a report by the University of Missouri School of Natural Resources. It has this really long title that I'll read now. Mm-hmm. Carbon and Biomass Dynamics in Missouri Forests and Implications for Climate Change. I want to talk a little bit about this report. First, why did you consider this study so important?
Well, I think it's really important for the public to understand the role that forests play in sequestering carbon, mm-hmm. basically absorbing carbon from the atmosphere into the tree, through the tree leaves, and through the photosynthesis process, and utilize that carbon in the tree. So we're taking the bad stuff out of the air and converting it to good stuff in wood products. And it's really important for people to understand the role that forests play in carbon sequestration and what a huge environmental benefit it is for the forest to be healthy, growing as actively and strongly as they can, because at that point, that's when they're absorbing the greatest amount of carbon from the atmosphere. And it's captured and stays in that tree until it's harvested, and then we convert it into wood products, and it stays in that wood product forever.
Wow. So can you walk me through a little bit what the difference is in that carbon sequestration process between if a tree is just allowed to grow and die versus when it becomes a wood product? What's the difference?
Sure, and that's a great question, because I get asked a lot about, okay, why don't we just let the trees stand and grow, and it's going to store carbon there, and we don't have to cut the trees? Well, a tree, like any other plant or any other crop, has a biological maturity. It's going to die. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, when that tree, if it dies and falls to the ground, over time, as that tree decays, all of that captured carbon that it was working to do for maybe 100 years then goes back up into the atmosphere through the decay process. So our objective is to look at a process where we are managing that forest for optimal health, optimal growth. So we are capturing as much carbon as we possibly can over time. It's stored in that tree for the proper amount of time. We harvest it before it biologically dies, convert it into wood products, and have people use that products to make their lives better forever. That's the name of the game. That's what we're trying to do, and that's what we want to educate people on the importance of managing these forests, and really most importantly is use wood products versus all the fake alternatives that are out there that are plastics and everything else. So that's the reason I wanted to do that study, is to be able to provide some science behind what we know is true, but this is a document that people can read and understand, what our objective is in carbon sequestration.
And I was looking at the report and I saw quite a few really amazing sources, from NASA to the EPA to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Like, these are really renowned sources that are backing up what you're saying.
That's right. It's factual science, and that's what I wanted to make sure that we got out there in front of folks is the facts. And we're very fortunate here in Missouri to have a university that's got a school of natural resources that has professors there that can engage in this kind of work and really do some great stuff for the state of Missouri.
Absolutely. Within this report, I saw a lot of data around fake wood alternatives versus real wood, and I've seen a lot of stuff around bamboo lately. Can you tell me where wood fits in with all of the fake alternatives, and if it's better, if it's worse for the environment?
Well, bamboo is a grass, so that's a big deal. Big misconception with bamboo is it's not even wood; it's a grass.
Oh, wow.
And so, one of the primary objectives that the Forest Products Association had when we looked at what we could do to promote the products that our folks make to the public and try to do what we can to consume more of those products. A lot of that motivation was based on our recognition that the real wood, the solid wood products in the marketplace have been replaced in a lot of cases by the wood lookalikes that are fake and plastic. And the manufacturing of these products, people have to realize, are products that emit carbon into the atmosphere when they're being manufactured, as compared to the reverse of what we do when we're making our products. We're making a product that is stored carbon for decades, and we keep that carbon in these products locked up forever. Mm-hmm. And the reverse is true with the fake lookalikes that are out there. And it's important for people to realize that they really need to understand the choices they're making and what it's doing to the climate and to the atmosphere. A lot of these products are being imported from other parts of the world. They come on our shelves here in the United States, and folks purchase them for a lot of different reasons. We hear a lot of times that they're cheaper, they're easier to put in, and a lot of different things. And I just encourage people to take a hard look at that right now and make sure that when you look at all of the issues associated with the fake wood lookalikes, that a real solid product is not available to you, and you could also actually use it in your home and not use the products that have that harm the planet when they're being manufactured.
I've also heard it said that fake wood lookalikes, so some like vinyl or any kind of wood floors especially, are actually more harmful because they have more chemicals in them. Is that true?
That's right. There's many studies out there now that over time, these products, they emit bad toxins into your home, and those are things that your family can inhale over time, and they're just bad for you. And it's we'd encourage folks to look at the natural, real wood products versus the fake products. And we're also seeing studies that on average, these materials that people are putting in their home that are the fake wood lookalikes, they're being replaced every 7 years, and that material is going into a landfill, and that stuff's not going to break down maybe forever. I don't know, but there are so many bad things that you can talk about with all these fake products, and we just encourage people to look at the real stuff. You know what the forest management, wood products, it's sort of this environmental gold standard. Mm-hmm. It really is, because, you know, when we're growing these products, we're absorbing that carbon from the atmosphere. We're converting it into a product that carbon stays captured forever, mm-hmm. versus the products that are being made and emitting these chemicals into the air when they're manufactured, into the air in your home when they're put in place. So we feel like we need to really inform folks about how good forest management and good wood product utilization can really benefit people's lives.
That was a lot. So I just want to recap. What are some of the key takeaways from this carbon report?
Well, the report indicated that a well-managed forest, it captures the greatest amount of carbon. Mm-hmm. We can convert that carbon into wood products that we can use in our everyday lives. We know that the report also indicated that when you look at the energy that's used to produce a wood product, mm-hmm. it requires less energy for us to produce these real wood products than it would comparative or alternative products that are out there in the marketplace that are petroleum based, mm-hmm. Because you're emitting carbon during that process. So that's important. Fake wood products, you know, when they are replaced every 6 or 7 years, they go in a landfill, and they're going to stay there for much, much longer than a wood product would, because a wood product, being natural, is going to decay and decompose over time. So those are kind of the primary takeaways of the study that is important for us to be able to get out to the public so they can recognize those.
We improve all of our customers' lives, in our opinion, by providing them a top quality product that will last for generations.
The real wood that we have in our home, I know will never need to be replaced while we have our home.
Using real hardwood is a good thing because it is solid, it's durable. Unlike vinyl, real hardwood can last hundreds of years.
You need to buy real Missouri hardwoods because of the warmth, the quality, the beauty, and the longevity this product will have. And you will never regret this for the rest of your life.
Lots of great takeaways there. At the recent National Hardwood Lumber Association conference, several attendees remarked particularly about how Missouri has approached industry challenges. I've heard more than a few people from that conference and even on social media talking about how Missouri's ahead of the curve, or Missouri has done a lot of things right. So what has Missouri done that other states haven't done in order to support this industry, and what can others learn from our efforts?
Well, I think number one, that the Missouri Forest Products Association has been around for 50 years. Mm-hmm. We're the voice of the forest products industry. But you know, I think one of the very critical things that MFPA has done a good job with over time is to engage with our elected officials and make sure that those people understand the importance of the forest products industry to the state of Missouri. We've talked about the $10 billion economic engine that it creates here in the state. And the critical part of that is that engine runs in the part of the state that we really need it to run. In rural Missouri, the forest products industry in a lot of cases is what really drives that economy. So I think we've done a pretty good job here in Missouri of educating the General Assembly. They understand the importance of good forest management. They understand the utilization of those products in the industry. And as a result of that, they've supported the idea of the fact that we need to promote these products. And that the fact is that over the past couple of decades, we're using a whole lot less of real wood products in the marketplace as compared to the previous 20 or 30 years. I always tell folks that in a lot of cases, our wood products manufacturers, for example, if they ran a sawmill, the biggest marketing campaign that they had to make sure they had in place was to answer the phone and take an order, because that's how in demand our products were. People wanted solid wood products in their home. That was they knew that if they were putting those products in their home, that they were creating a legacy that was going to be there for a long time. Their family was going to enjoy it. Just the warmth of solid wood in a home, people come into it, and it just sort of makes them happy. And for some reason, over time, we've kind of gotten away from that, and I think the industry itself has taken some responsibility of that and understood that we have not stayed in front of the curve on making sure that our products are still well understood in the marketplace, that they're available, and marketing and how people make choices have changed so much over time. You mentioned, I think you're 25 years old, and social media for you is sort of how you operate. For me, just a few years older than that, social media is not on my radar at all. It's something that annoys me when I see my kids on their phone all the time. But we have to understand that that's how people make a lot of decisions. And so a couple of years ago, I just recognized that I felt like we needed to make some major changes in this industry on how I felt like we needed to inform people about our products and market these products. So I think we've recognized the fact that things need to change. We've got an opportunity here with the support that the General Assembly has given us to launch a program to really educate folks on forest management and wood product utilization in the state of Missouri.
And with this opportunity, this podcast, this Real Wood Matters, if you could say one thing to consumers about the forest products industry, especially in Missouri, what would that one thing be?
Do I need one word, or can I say one sentence?
One topic. I won't constrain you.
I guess what I would encourage folks to do is to give real wood a chance again. Just take a look at the options that are available for whatever project you've got going on. If it's building a piece of furniture, or if it's building your dream home, take a look at real wood. And when you put real wood in your home, for example, a solid hardwood floor, if what I tell people a lot that resonates with me, that if you build this beautiful new home that costs a lot of money, and you get to the point where you have you're making a decision on a real wood floor versus a plastic wood look-alike floor, go into somebody's home that's got that plastic look-alike floor and just drop a fork on it, and just hear that sort of echo throughout your house and how fake that sounds. You take that same fork into a home that's got a solid wood floor and drop it. It's a complete different sound. And it just makes all the difference to me on, okay, this is something that's real. It's solid. It's warm. It's what makes a home. And just give it a chance. Take a look at what might be out there. Don't just automatically assume it's too expensive. Take a look at it and see if it might be an option for you, and just sort of take in the beauty of these real wood products.
With so much beauty, and we have real wood floors in here, and they are beautiful, and I'm going to take a fork later and drop it on these floors.
That's right.
So I can test out what you just said.
Yeah, do it.
But with so many reasons to buy wood, buy real Missouri wood, what are the challenges you face? Because it seems like a no-brainer to me. So what are the challenges that you often see in marketing wood and getting people to buy it?
I think that real wood products over time have possibly sort of gotten this bad rap of, well, we know they're not affordable. We know they're too expensive. And they very likely are going to be more money. But I just encourage people to take a look at the fact that maybe the homeowner doesn't understand that they're likely going to have to replace that fake wood floor in about 7 years because the edges of it curl up or whatever is happening to it. And if you've got a solid wood floor and you've raised 4 or 5 kids, they've gotten scratched and you've got grandkids on it now, all you got to do is sand them down, refinish them, and they look beautiful again. So I think just, think about, the longer term with real wood products. And also, if people are at all concerned about the environment that they live in, the environment of their own home, the larger climate, the larger environment, there is no question utilizing real wood products is the better choice. There's no question about that. But it does take a little bit of effort to investigate your purchases, your choices. It takes a little bit of time and effort to kind of take a look at things and compare them. But it's always interesting to me because all of the fake stuff out there, well, it all looks like wood. So, it all, everybody wants it to look like wood. I mean, there's even tile that looks like wood that people put in their showers. So everybody wants it to look like wood, but don't want to use the actual product. And we'd like for people to take a chance at looking at, okay, what would it take to really use the actual product? And you get done with that project and you look down at it and think, this is sort of a work of art. It's not like the fake stuff where every other piece is identical. Every piece of wood has an identity. Every single piece has an identity. And you'll never find an identical board, one sitting next to the other. It's never going to happen ever. So that creates a lot of uniqueness, I think, and that it's important to take a look at those kind of things, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I also heard that in 2024, the MFPA launched a dam, not a beaver dam. We are talking still about wood, but it's a DAM, a digital asset management system, a huge collection of high quality license-free videos and photos for people in the industry to use. Why did you create the dam? Why did MFPA launch it? And how do you hope your peers and people in the industry will use it?
Well, MFPA has a great partnership with chemistry, public relations, and multimedia in St. Louis. And I've been working with Chris Cuban since we've kind of launched this promotion effort here in the state of Missouri. And as we've been launching that program, we've understood that the, quote, digital assets that are needed to sort of tell these stories across the state, those assets need to be stored and managed in the proper way. And my objective on that was to establish this DAM, this digital asset management system, in such a way to where we can share all of those assets with anybody that wants to use them. Because what's important to me is that we need to be telling this forestry wood product story across this country. So if we have something that we've done with this effort in the state of Missouri that someone else can responsibly use, we're all for it. So they're able to use that however they can in their own promotional work, as long as it's being used for the right way, they can use it free of charge.
And what would MFPA members have to do to get access to the management system?
The management system, I mean, the easiest way is to get in contact with MFPA, and then I'll get you in contact with the right people with chemistry. That's the easiest way to go about it.
Amazing. And you mentioned a couple of questions and answers back that the Missouri legislature has been incredibly helpful, and MFPA has a lot of connections there. Can you walk me through the Missouri legislature and how it's approached funding for marketing efforts for MFPA?
Sure. Yeah, we a couple of years ago when we kind of launched this effort to promote the forest products industry, we approached the General Assembly and we began to explain our story, and was really brutally honest with the story and what the current state of wood product utilization was, not only in Missouri but across the country, and it's really suffering and still is. I mean, the industry has gone through some extremely challenging times because of all the things we've been talking about. So I approached the General Assembly and said, hey, I've got this idea to put together a promotional program, and we really need the help from the state of Missouri to make it a reality. So we worked with some senators and some state representatives to kind of what this program would be and how we would structure it. And 2 years ago we passed a Senate bill that provides $2 million a year to help promote these products in the state of Missouri.
Wow, it's really nice to know that you've got some people behind you on your side helping to make these moves, right?
Yes, it's really been awesome to see the reaction of the General Assembly to this program and kind of what we've been able to accomplish so far, and we're hoping to do it for several more years because it's just critically needed, and we're sort of at the tip of the iceberg right now on what I think we can accomplish. But the General Assembly understands that our state, is when we look at manufacturing and we look at the rural areas in this state in particular, and the necessity of the forest products industry to stay in place there and not go away and employ these folks that want to stay in rural Missouri. They want to live there. They want to raise families there. And it's important to the state. They know what's at stake, so to speak, and they're behind it. It's been a great relationship so far.
That's all for today's episode. Thank you to our guest, Brian Brookshire, and thank you to our sponsor, Choose Wood. Finally, thank you for listening, and choose wood.